Okay, welcome. In this next session, we are going to look more at the shame-based core feelings and the behavior that goes with it. Okay, so there are all kind of beliefs that go together and feelings that go together with shame. Okay, now remember, shame was and is the biggest root of addictions. Okay, so this is always connected with addictions. But so there are these kind of beliefs like I feel as if I never will be acceptable. You know, I sometimes feel as if I'm fake. And this next one is a very important one. I feel that if people who admire me really knew me, they might have contempt for me. In other words, they won't like me anymore. Have you ever been feeling or thinking like that? Like, if they really knew what is going on inside me, they probably won't be my friend.
Yeah, I guess I guess a little to
Yes,
some extent.
yes. You know, everybody has some extent of some shame in their life. Okay, so for the one person, it's much stronger than for the other. But please always realize that if somebody claims to be your friend or wants to be your friend, and you believe in yourself, oh, if I would tell him this or that of my life, he probably will not be my friend anymore. Well, better tell him that part of your life,
Mm,
so you know if he is your real friend or not. Otherwise, you don't even give him the opportunity to be your real friend, and that's not
mm,
fair. And if he would not be your friend anymore, well, you better don't invest even in that friendship, because it's a fake friendship then anyways. Okay, so it should become a challenge to just share and be honest, so that you know if somebody is really actually a friend or not. Okay,
mm,
but it can be very scary in the beginning.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then when I look inside of myself, I seldom feel any joy of at what I am. Now, this one means that basically you only know and only are aware of the deceptions that Satan has made trapped you in. And it means you still have discovered very little about who the Lord created you to be. Okay?
Mm,
So this one should be a challenge to say, like, hey, I think I have to learn more about what the Lord says about me and about his plans for my life. And I think I have to kick some deceptions out. Okay? Then the next one, I feel as if God must be disgusted with me. Well, that most times comes because other people have given you those messages. That doesn't mean God gave those messages. Okay? The worst is if people do that in the name of the Lord or using the name of the Lord. Well, then they have been abusing the name of the Lord. Okay?
mm,
And then I feel a lingering sorrow. You know, uh, when there is always like a sorrow or a sadness over your life, you know, sadness has a purpose and sadness has a reason. Okay?
mm-hmm,
When you lose something that was dear to you, or somebody who was dear and valuable to you, or you lose a friendship, but even if you lose, maybe you have a nice watch that you were very happy with and that was given to you by somebody that was very precious to you, and the watch breaks or gets lost,
mm,
you feel sorrow. Now, that sorrow comes and has the intention to help you and to stimulate you to grieve. And in the process of grieving, you let go. I'm going to speak about that tomorrow when I'm going to speak about forgiveness. Okay.
mm,
And when you grieve and you let go, then the sorrow goes as well. But a lingering sorrow, a continuous, like a blanket of sadness over your life, it means there is basically a stronghold of the enemy coming over you. And that one comes out of shame. Okay, and is not healthy, is not stimulating you to grieve and let go of anything. It's just putting you down, making you never to rise up for anything. Okay, and it's very destructive in the end. Yeah. Or when people have these feelings like, I'm so tired, I would like to just go to heaven. You know, there's is a spiritual, a spiritualized feeling or thought when it comes to shame. But people are so tired, they don't know how to fight, and they feel like they don't have any energy to fight, as if they need energy to fight. You know, it's trying to fight in the wrong way. Now, when you're drained of energy, it means you have been fighting. What Paul says, you know, we are not fighting like those beating the air. You know, when you're trying to beat the air, yes, of course, you're always on the losing side because you don't know what you are fighting against. It's the Lord who tears down the strongholds. But there are a couple of principles that are very important that will make you to stop fighting in the wrong way. Okay? In other words, one of the most important ones is that stop being the victim. You know, people who are like exhausted with shame, they always see themselves as the victim. People have to stop seeing themselves as a victim. Okay, there is victory in Jesus, so you're no more a victim. Even if people did bad things to you in the past and that brought you to the place you are today, you know, it's like somebody dumped garbage in your backyard. Okay, when somebody dumps garbage in your backyard, your house becomes very smelly. You get lots of flies, you get rodents, you know, rats, cockroaches. Your house becomes unlivable, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what if you say, oh, I'm so tired of my house. Look at this garbage here. You know, people have been dumping it in my backyard. You know, I can't help it. It's not my garbage. You know, people have just been dropping it here. I can't do anything about it. What would you say to such a person?
Come on, take charge. You know,
Yes.
clean up.
Clean
Stop
up.
the guys. Don't dumping stuffs.
Yes, it wasn't your garbage. Okay, but now it has become your garbage because it's in your yard, and the person who dropped it is never going to come and take it away. So come up, take a shovel, take the container, load it in, carry it out, get it away. Okay, clean up the yard, put up the fence. If people throw it from the back in, put up the fence. Set your boundaries to protect yourself, that they won't continue to drop new garbage. But take ownership. You know, and that's often when people are say, I'm so tired, you know, it's because they still allow new garbage to be thrown in and they never take ownership of what has happened to them. Okay? When people are denying the reality of the state of their life, they don't want to acknowledge the truth, where the trap they have fallen into, they pretend things are better than they are. With that, they deny others to help them. Okay? And of course, you get this kind of emotions of feeling useless, worthless, valueless, inadequate. Okay? But those things all come forth out of shame. Okay? Now, it takes revelation from the Lord to realize what it meant for Jesus to hang at the cross. You know, Jesus paid for everything. You know, when, for example, in Gethsemane, all the fear of the world came on Jesus. Now, till what extent did Jesus carry the fear of the world? What is written in that place when he became very, very fearful? All the fear came upon him. What happened to Jesus physically?
Yeah, I think you
in Gethsemane,
like physically he was weary, and then think that was when he started sweating. Where his sweat became as blood.
Yes, exactly. So instead of sweat, water coming from his skin, blood started squeezing through his skin. Now, medical doctors have said that is possible. When the fear and the agony in somebody gets so high and the stress level comes so high, it is possible for the blood pressure to go so highly up that the blood literally gets squeezed out through the skin instead of sweat. The only point is, it is a state that nobody can survive. So if that happens, normally that is also the point you will very quickly drop dead. Okay? In other words, Jesus carried the fear of the world till the point of death. Now, what prayer does Jesus pray at that moment?
If they'll be willing, let this cup pass over me.
Hmm?
Yeah, when you pray that that if it be that this cup pass over me, but nevertheless that will be done.
Yes. Now, have you heard pastors preach about this?
Yeah, sure.
For sure. How did they interpret this cup?
Interpreted as the cup of the sufferings, the cross, and actually the purpose of coming, to take on the sins and of the world, to actually take the place of punishment for the world. Yeah. So
Now, just think for one moment, okay? I'm going to explain this to you. You see, this interpretation is what I have been taught all my life till one time, one pastor, and I thank God for that pastor. It's actually the same pastor that helped me to realize that Jesus does love me when I was much younger. When that man just did his Bible study, okay, and gave the correct interpretation of what is going on there. But just think for 1 second. Jesus had left heaven to come to the earth with one purpose and one purpose only. What was his purpose?
To deliver the people from sin, to deliver mankind from sin.
Yeah, and how was he going to do that?
Of course, he was going to take on the sins of the world and be separated from God.
Yes, and in what means? To die at the cross.
Yes.
Let me tell you, and if we do get finished with the teaching on forgiveness tomorrow, then because today is, yeah, then by after that I will share with you about Genesis 1 verse 1. Of course, you can also watch it on YouTube. I have my videos there about Genesis 1 verse 1. Okay, there are 6 videos of about an hour each. So just Genesis 1 verse 1, that one verse of the Bible, I teach 3 hours about it. To just explain that one verse. But in Genesis 1 verse 1, in the Paleo Hebrew text, the original script it was written in, it already states that Jesus is going to die at the cross for us. From before the foundations of the world.
Yeah.
From before the foundations of the world, Jesus was already ordained to die at the cross. And already the statement was made. And do you really think that at the minute, at the last second, Jesus asked, oh, please let me not have to die at the cross? Do you really think that he tries to back out at the last minute? Does that look like Jesus?
Maybe maybe not, but I think the real issue was the matter of not the dying, not the dying physically, but that state of separation from the oneness and the fellowship of with God that he had always in forever been experiencing.
He had known from the beginning that that is what he had to do.
Okay.
He was well aware of it. You see, read carefully. What does it say? Does he pray, Father, please, if it is possible, take the cup away from me? Or does he say, take this cup away from me? What does it say? The cup or this cup?
Let me check it out to be sure.
Now, it of course depends if you have a correct translation.
Okay, it says this cup.
This cup, correct. Now, if I say, oh, please take this cup away. Oh yeah, my background is cheap. Here now you see it. Look at look here, Israel. You see, if I say take this cup, if I say this cup, what does that indicate?
This particular one.
This particular one. So in other words, there are different cups. Yes?
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the Jewish Passover, there are several cups that they drink. You see, if you see, when we have communion, how many cups do we drink? One. Okay? But Jesus wasn't speaking and praying and living in our culture. He spoke from his culture, from the Jewish culture. The Jewish Passover had several cups. Which cup was Jesus drinking at that moment?
Okay.
His blood, his sweat turning to blood.
Yeah.
Being deeply in fear. Which cup was he drinking? The cup of the fear of the world.
Okay.
Till what point had he finished that cup? To the point of death. Naturally, when his sweat turned to blood, it's a statement, a scientific statement that is there. That indicates that he finished that cup of the fear. The fear of the world came upon him to the point of death. So he had finished drinking that cup of fear to the point of death. It's just that the Lord did not allow him to die because he had several more cups to drink. And knowing that he has to drink the other cups, he says, Father, take this cup away from me, but your will be done. In other words, Lord, if you want me to remain in this sphere while I drink all the other cups, when you want me to drink several cups at the same time, I'm fine. But Father, if it's possible, I finished this one already to the point of death. Please, can you take this one away? But your will be done. In the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, it says that that prayer was answered by the Lord. It says in Hebrews, it says that that prayer of Jesus at Gethsemane was answered. And the Lord comes and he sends his angels and ministers to Jesus. And do you see any fear in Jesus the whole rest of the journey? No. The fear is gone. He has finished paying for the fear of the world. Then he pays for the other things, the one after the other. By his stripes, when they beat him with the 39 lashes, that 39 lashes was deadly. They didn't have antibiotics. Those lashes was a whip. Have you seen the movie The Passion of the Christ?
Yeah.
It very correctly indicates what happened. When they whip you with that whip, there is no skin and no flesh left on your back. Everything is torn away naked to the bones. There is no way you survive it. Nowadays, maybe if you're lucky, with skin transplant and everything and the antibiotics, they might rescue you. But in the time of Jesus, that was a death sentence, and a horrible one, because you would die of the most horrific inflammations and infections on the open back. And most times within 1 to 2 weeks, you would die with terrible pain. Okay? So that was a death sentence. It says, by his stripes we are healed. That is how he carried our sicknesses. We have often so little faith that Jesus can heal us from our sicknesses. Hey, he received those death sentence for it. Okay? Now, how did Jesus carry our shame?
It was naked.
Yes.
Nakedness and
yes. All those beautiful pictures you see of Jesus hanging at the cross, they always put a wrap around his waist, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, that wrap was not there in reality. He was hanging naked. That is how he carried your and my shame. You understand? We don't need to carry any shame any longer. If we carry shame, we carry something that Jesus paid for at the cross. He died for that. And when we carry shame around, we deny that Jesus hung naked at the cross for us. Okay? So shame is something that is so destructive. And that is why Jesus paid for it. He specifically paid for it at the cross by hanging there naked. It's not for nothing that the cross was chosen for him to die on. Do you know another thing on the cross is that you know what kills somebody at the cross ultimately?
Loss of blood.
No, it's not. It's not the loss of blood. It's suffocation.
Okay.
You see, if they would only nail somebody through the hand palms at the cross, he would die in 5 minutes. Because if you hang like that and all your body weight hangs on your arms stretched out, it blocks your air pipe. So you cannot breathe.
Okay.
So you know the wicked thing they did? They would lift up your legs a little bit, that they are just slightly bent, you know, like your legs are a little bit like this. And then they nail the feet. So by stretching your legs, you just open up the air pipe a little bit to just give a little bit gap that you can breathe. So you have the agonizing pain on the nails in your feet, that you are resting on the nails that go through your feet. Can you imagine how painful that is? You have to push it up to breathe, but that causes so much stress and pain that all your muscles in your body start cramping. And at a certain point, you cramp so much that you have to let go. So now you hang on the nails on your arms, which is terrifying pain. You know, by the way, they didn't put them through the hand palm because it would just tear out. They did it in the here, because that locks. It cannot tear out. But it's an agonizing pain. So you would get all the pressure there. You cannot breathe. You suffocate till the point that your oxygen level is so low in your body that you're about to pass out. That is the point of suffocation, that basically you pass out and die. But because the oxygen level gets so low in your blood and in your muscles, that your muscles can no longer cramp. So the cramp lets go naturally. And thus, with your last strength, you have no other option than to push yourself up again and grasp again for breath. And you breathe again, oxygen level goes up. The muscle tension builds up, your muscles start cramping again, and you have to let go again. And for the whole day, you suffocate to death many times. But each time, just before the moment you pass out and die, you actually just start breathing again. That was the horrific thing of dying at the cross. It wasn't, you didn't die one time, you died many times. It's like Jesus died for every individual human being separately. That's what he expressed there. That he died for everybody individually. So Jesus died for everything at the cross. He paid the price for everything in full. He drank every cup to the bottom. So when we walk around with these feelings and these destructive systems in our lives of shame and of fear, then we fail to receive and accept and embrace the fact that Jesus paid for it. Now, how do I break shame? How can I expose shame in my life? By bringing into the light the things I'm ashamed about and leave the result to the Lord. Do you understand? That's how you break shame. By refusing any longer to operate with the system and refusing any longer to agree with the system of shame and kick out that system out of your life. Take a sledgehammer and hammer it out. Okay? Expose it. Get rid of it. Stop abiding by it. It's destructive. It's killing. Okay? Because these are the kind of feelings that go together with that system of shame. I'm never good enough. There's no good. I'm bad. I'm alone. I'm alienated. I'm abandoned. I'm dirty. I'm damaged. I'm different, or I'm dumb. Nobody likes me. Or some people even think, I wonder if I'm adopted because even my parents don't care. Are they actually my parents? It causes always doubt. That's not the intention of the Lord. Those are the result of shame. Okay? And that leads to its own behavior. Now, the problem is that shame-based behavior causes automatically more shame. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because in shame-based behavior, we avoid relationships out of fear of intimacy and being hurt. So by avoiding intimate relationships, I actually create more shame for myself. And then there is often a rushing into relationships because of the overwhelming need of acceptance. But of course, the relationships you do rush into are not with the healthy people and never get to the point of true intimacy, because then you jump out again. So you're always rushing into relationships and breaking out of relationships, always looking for acceptance. And of course, it leads to numerous of failed relationships. And then you get often to the point, people who live in shame, that ultimately they get into a relationship with somebody who uses that relationship to abuse them. But then they are afraid to get out of it. And so often you see people who live in shame stay in one long, miserable relationship of somebody who abuses them. The one relationship they should jump out, they don't jump out. But the healthy ones, they jump out. leading exactly to the opposite behavior than what would help them and bring them healing. Okay, and then there is the thing what they call tap dancing in a relationship, you know, substituting things. So I need intimacy, but okay, I substitute it for sex, as if sex is the same as intimacy. Well, it's not. It is the ultimate intimacy in a healthy marriage, but it cannot substitute the normal intimacy that we need. Okay? And then often you see the behavior of fixing and rescuing and controlling other people. So I cannot fix myself, so let me try to fix somebody else. I think my connection broke up for a moment.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank God, we're back. Okay. So what we start doing is trying to fix and rescue other people. Okay, because it's easier to fix somebody else than fix yourself. It's easier to rescue somebody else than rescue yourself. And of course, in order to rescue them and fix them, they must and shall obey you. So you start controlling them. Okay, these are typically shame-based behaviors. And you see sometimes pastors do this, who are very controlling in the church. Now, let me tell you, I'm helping quite a lot of people, and I am never forcing people to get well. I offer them my help to get well. They can take it or leave it. I will, when they are not responding, I will lovingly remind them, but I never will force somebody to get well. Because if I force somebody to get well, that person will never get well. Okay? Jesus offers us his love very caringly, and he can patiently wait for years till we are ready to receive it. But of course, in shame-based behavior, we start controlling because we want results, because our own self-worth is depending on it. Okay? It shouldn't be. Then there is the blaming others to avoid feeling worse about yourself. So, you know, the blaming to resolve problems. When I blame others and make others look very bad, then I can feel a little bit better about myself. But that's a shame-based thinking. You know, giving to people till it hurts you. Not giving because you want to give, but giving because you want to get back. This is the foundation of the prosperity gospel. It's playing into people's emotions. It's not godly. It's shame-based. It's when people ignore their own needs. Okay? Because they're not allowed to have needs anyways. Okay, so these are typically some of those destructive behaviors that come forth out of shame and always cause more shame. It's like self-multiplying the shame. Okay? It's most times when you see that people use enormous amounts of emotional and physical energy to please other people. It's like if I please somebody else and somebody else is happy with me, then at least I can be happy with myself. But if others are not happy with me, I cannot be happy with myself. So I must make others to be happy with me. So at least then I can feel a little bit happiness. Okay? Well, of course, it always leads to engaging into addictive behavior, as I said, at risky and promiscuous behavior. Well, you can go through them. There are a couple more. People often being passive or passive aggressive or just aggressive, but not appropriate. And engaging into a variety of overdoing behaviors to relieve a constant stress, overeating, oversleeping. Some people start oversleeping to just avoid life altogether. If I sleep, at least life can pass by without me having to deal with it. It's like oversleeping is an avoidance behavior. But you have also people who over-exercise as a means to escape. Or other people start over-cleaning, OCD. At least I've control over the cleanliness of my house. So at least one place I've control, because over my own life, I have no control. That's the kind of thing behind OCD. Or it goes to the other extreme when it comes to hoarding, over hoarding. Have you ever heard about hoarding?
Yeah.
There is this television program from the US about hoarders. I don't know if you have ever Googled it. Or for sure, you can find it on YouTube nowadays. And you're stunned, you're amazed. You think, how can somebody live in such a house that is packed to the top everywhere? You can barely move through it anymore. But it's when people have such an emptiness inside of them and such a shame that they try to compensate it with all kind of stuff and material, even rubbish and garbage, and they just hoard it in. And of course, it doesn't fill the emptiness. The emptiness only becomes bigger inside of them. And their house becomes unlivable. But it becomes an obsessive compulsive behavior, and they can't let go of anything. When they try to empty the houses of those people, once they have put 5 things out, those people drag 10 things back in. They cannot let go. So these are all those typical shame-based behaviors. It shows that something has badly gone wrong. Okay? Now, okay, this is for tomorrow. So I would like to keep it to this point for today. And I hope that's clear.